Hello, and welcome to another story pulled right off the shelves at the heart of the Jakuls. As always, I'm your steadfast host, Lothran, and there's ever so much more info to relay, so let's get back to the work, shall we? Go gather a filling meal, settle into a comfy seat, and pay careful attention to Fleet Part 15, Production Woes. I don't care what you do with them. Cam marched back up the ramp of the Javelin fighter scout he was helping to construct and inspect. Well, you made it sound like you wanted us to kill them all, Rill vented Cam's way. The medium-sized furry red beast scrambling up into Cam's arms leapt once more out of his grasp and then back up again, settling in place and hissing back toward Rill. Finally, somebody who agrees with me. Cam reached up and stroked the critter's furry pointed face. He decided to just be done with it. If the little beast so desperately needed to rest upon his shoulder while he got back to work, then that was simply that. This one stays, but gather up the rest of them and put them somewhere. I don't care how cruel it seems, we can't have them wandering about, getting into stuff again. It just seems horrible to lock them up and forget about them, sir. Assign someone to take care of them. Go away, Lieutenant. That is an order. Cam entered the cabin of the still half-built Javelin. Open the panel back up, Private. Yes, sir, Commander. The private replied, removing the panel in question. You can see Estoc came up with a labeling system for conduits as well as a color-coded system. This red one with the black square is energized thread. The yellow one with the circle is a direct power cord between the thread generator and the thread exchanger. And then from the thread exchanger we can convert down to both wires and conduits depending on which subsystem we're directing the flow towards. How much power does this save in the long run? A considerable amount, sir, the private commented as he sat back and shifted to talk about the weapon system. We still have the problem with the charge cycle on the spinning laser. They fire as fast as they should. They just take about 5 seconds to spin up to a full cycle instead of the 2 you were hoping for. Cam sat down, fiddling with a measuring tool idly in his hands. Did we at least figure out why it was happening? Yes, sir. Well, we think it has something to do with the alteration to the seats that the military HQ demanded be in these ships over the trike or previous Javelin designs. How would that have an effect on it? No, wait, I think I get it. The factor tubes. They let the user feel as much of the ship as possible, and the ship feels them back. So the delay is from limiting the available motions of the pilots. Vildar shared a similar sentiment before he left on his ship the Beetle to acquire food from a more reputable source than HQ supply. This sort of thing happen on other bases, Private? Cam asked as he began examining the inner hull. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to say. Speak freely or hold your tongue. Pick whichever feels most appropriate. I'll find out either way, Cam replied, sounding immensely sure of himself. It's been a problem for a while, sir, a few years, but it's been happening more and more lately. The base I was transferred from had to assign a special work order for farming just to keep us all fed. I see. The animal on Cam's shoulder snatched the tool from his hand and held it like it was a great treasure. Cam scratched the beast under its chin as he contemplated. I'll make a note of it. What about the power supply? Have the crews managed to find the source of the stutters? I think so, sir, but I wasn't briefed on that during the shift change. Okay, finish linking the cables. I have 4 other ships to inspect. Yes, sir, Commander. The private pulled himself toward his work after offering up a crisp salute. Cam sent one back, and the beast on his shoulder mimicked the motion, keeping a careful eye on Cam to see if it was making the gesture properly. He turned and fled back down the ramp to the rest of his ruined day. Sir, Your sister Kath is looking for you. A woman in one of the new uniforms, gold coat and black pants, hurried up to his side. Illyria, right? Cam asked, pulling the red-pointed-faced, thin-bodied beast off of his shoulder to hold it in his arms and get a little control over it. It offered him the tool it still held in exchange for its freedom. Cam flipped the measuring rod back into his tool belt and let the furry hunter clamber back up onto his shoulder. Yes, sir. Thank you for remembering. I know there's a lot of people on the base since the soldiers and the second wave of engineers began arriving. Yes, but I try to memorize as many faces and voices as I can. Cam stopped walking when the pair of them arrived at the second Javelin due for inspection. You two still working up there? A pair of sweaty engineers darted their heads out from their work to nod and bellow curses under their breath about their misfortune. Seems I have a moment if you have more to say. Wait, is Kath still angry about the soldiers I sent down to armaments? Cam addressed Illyria. She is, quite infuriated, sir. Illyria smiled in an awkward way while trying to think up the right word to describe Kath's mood. That doesn't sound like Kath. Usually she's much more livid, hurling insults and throwing whatever heavy object is closest to hand. Yes, sir, she is. She is that. Illyria smiled more genuinely, laughing lightly at Cam's joke. Sir, I wanted to thank you, for the transfer. How is Mira treating you? Cam asked, genuinely concerned about his subordinate. She's distant. She gives me orders, but she doesn't seem to care how much I go about doing it or what she tells me to get done as long as I get it done. Mara mostly sticks to her own duties, so that's fine. Cam tilted his head to check on the pair of engineers, hastily attempting to finish up. Actually, when you go back into the pit, I'll need you to relay that I need Mara to start also growing vegetables down there to keep the larders well stocked. Yes, sir. Illyria replied in a rushed fashion, looking more and more out of place as she stood there beside him. I have to be getting back to work now. It was nice speaking to you, Illyria. It was nice, thank you, sir. Illyria fled, almost falling onto her face in the attempt. The hunter tried to crawl into Cam's coat again. This time he let it. It was too much of a bother to keep extracting the beast from the warmth it craved so dearly from him. At least with its hand-like feet, it could hold on well enough that he didn't have to support it in there. Okay, so what seems to be the holdup, you two? Sorry, sir, one of them apologized. It's the maneuvering thrusters. We've tested them a dozen times. The entire left side won't align properly. They keep fluttering when powered on. I'll go up top and test the connections to power control. Thank you, sir, one of the pair commented. It's so nice to have a commander that knows what they're doing for a change, the other replied a little too loudly under his breath. And so it is. Our time together has once more come to its conclusion. I hope all of you enjoyed the story as much as I did the telling of it. As always, I've been your dependable host, Lothran, and this was Fleet Part 15, Production Woes, another tale right from the heart of the Jakuls. And now, once more we must part ways. Korvoth, guide them back along the proper path, back to the safety they know all too well.
Yes, sir, Lothran. Cam sure does like to constantly survey all the important issues, doesn't he? I got a job to do. A pleasant greeting and a fond farewell to each and all. Please leave all your comments, questions, and kindnesses down below. Don't you let me catch a single one of you leaving any of that mean, rude, or terrible stuff, though. You keep all of that nonsense to yourselves. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to help us learn, spread, and grow. And don't forget that we strongly encourage each and every one of you to stay safe out there. See you again tomorrow for this week's discussion. Good night and good luck. You'll need it. Bye-bye.